All right, let's see if I can test my mic here. I'll get started. Welcome, everyone. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's see if I can share this here. Welcome back, Dividend Stackers. If you're new here, this channel documents my journey building weekly income. Let's go ahead and share this. Just a reminder, none of this is financial advice. This is just what I am doing with my money inside of ULTY. All right, so hopefully everybody can hear me here. Again, this is my second time just doing, let's go ahead and start hearing that, doing a live here, and just excited to be here with everyone and check out the ULT price. So just taking a look here, I'll just jump right into it and don't have a whole lot of time here. Definitely catch a replay here. So let's see here where we are at. Definitely was a down day again for ULTY, and it looks like, let's go ahead and share entire screen here. And it looks like the dividends just dropped there. So then definitely dropped the price as well. Now we're sitting at $4.47, $4.48. So it's definitely been a down week for ULTY the last couple of weeks. Actually, if you take a look here, we're definitely trending in the wrong direction. Obviously, we know that this is what ULTY is supposed to do, but it's definitely been a long way from where we were. However, something that we were expecting would happen. Just quick look here at what everyone else did throughout the week here or throughout yesterday. The WPA was also down. Let me actually double check that here because I know it was down. Let's go to the 1 day. Just change it to 1 week. There we go. So that's showing right now the 1 week on WPay and also the 1 week on ULT with the I and KYLD. And the SPY did come up a little bit. So that was good to see there, especially for our other portfolios that we have. For me, I have a 401k that definitely want to make sure that that goes up there. One of the interesting articles here that I saw earlier today, and this is from Seeking Alpha. It says looking beyond the headlines with this covered call ETF. It looks like it was posted yesterday. One of the things I found interesting, it definitely goes in there, so it's an article to read, I guess. But it shows on here, is this a bad thing for investors? And that's really the wrong question for covered call ETFs in general, including ULTY. All investments have trade-offs, and just like taking a prescription medication, and one has to weigh the benefits versus the side effects. All investors should ever hope for that they understand what can go right and wrong before they reach the point of saying, I made a big mistake. So hopefully everyone did that when you got into it. I know I did. And it's obviously why I built this channel. Not going anywhere, documenting it all here. Ups, downs, the side to side, the low dividends, right? So with that, we can definitely go here and to see the yield max announced, and we'll go into the X webpage there where for the yield max, it was reading some of the comments there, and we can read them together here. But you can see ULTY sitting at 6 cents, 0.0626 cents. for a distribution rate of 70.53%. So it's not something that we were expecting. I mean, I don't think you were expecting or I was expecting it. I was thinking it was going to stay at the 80%. I know there were some people talking about saying that this may fix ULT. I'm not sure. I definitely would like to see that happen, but definitely was low. And I think some of the comments here actually say a lot. We're on X here, the Yomax ETFs when they announce it in the morning time. Just looking at some of these comments, we can go through this. And while we're at it here, let me just go. Oh, let me take my off there. Didn't realize I was doing that. Okay, no, there it is. All right, so yeah, so drop comments in there if or on the chat if you guys want to see some, if you guys want to talk about different things, but we can go into some of the comments. I'm not sure if you guys read these. So let's see here. So perhaps the lowest ULT distribution in a while, but I'm okay with it if it helps stabilize the NAV and move it a tick upwards. There's going to be a further loss in the AUM. Excuse me. Though as more people lose their faith in the process, a reverse split is now on the horizon. So what do you guys think about that? Definitely the reverse split, I think, will actually benefit us. It doesn't change anything, but I'm not sure if the distribution rate um, doesn't doesn't stay about 80%. 70% is still pretty good, but it's definitely not what we were used to, right? So especially if you've been in ULT for a while, it was definitely a lot higher. But looking back at some of these other comments, let's see here. ULT not living up to the ultra income name this week, sliding down to number 4 rank in yield among YieldMax Group 1 on Thursday payers. So that was definitely something when I saw it this morning. I was like, oh, and I think that this next comment here definitely shows it, right? So it's kind of everybody's reaction this morning. And this one I thought it was kind of funny. The monkey on, I would say life support, I guess. I don't know, needing oxygen. So that was definitely something. And if, hey, you guys want to follow me here on X, I don't post a lot of things there yet. Maybe I will at some point. I was starting the channel out, but I definitely wanted to just be on YouTube more, just to make sure that it was all centered in one space. I like YouTube. You can post there. You can share. You could post pictures. You can do the video thing, right? So that's good to see there. So if you just want to follow me there, I am at the ULTY YOLO. The next comment here, people have to make up their mind on ULT. If you want a huge 100% plus yield, which I wish we were getting right now, but don't complain when the NAV goes down over time, especially when from a total return perspective, you're still way up. I don't know about that. You guys can put it in the chat there who's way up right now, because I know I'm not. Definitely feeling a little bit of the pain there, but definitely documented it here. So you guys can see it live and see what that actually looks like. If you want more NAV stability, don't criticize the drop in the distribution. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? That's kind of somebody's opinion, I guess, right? Mr. Sartega, I sold my 11K shares this morning. Overall loss of 3,900 after dividends. Keep an eye on the charts. These are funds you should be moving in and out of depending on where the market goes. I'm still in Misty, but looking to exit as well. Truthfully, I didn't pay much attention to, and there's more there. Let's see here, to them, and that is on me for just letting them sit. Probably something you shouldn't be doing. You should probably be looking at these funds for sure. Definitely something that we want to make sure that we keep an eye on, especially if you're not really sure. Lord Dan Val said, "That's it. Selling all my OT tomorrow after the close. I'm out. I never buy into another yield scam ETF again." Yeah, I don't know. Not defending it and not saying he's right. For OT dividend or IVES 715, OT dividend dropping as fast as the stock, zero seems inevitable. Um, I don't think it's going to go to zero. I really don't. I think definitely has the potential, right? It definitely is paying the dividends still, not as high as we wanted to. So we got to stabilize, and we'll take a look here at some of those underlines that it has. So and why it shows, and why don't when you go back here to these here, the WPay being down, right? Because they a lot of the WPay has a lot of tech sectors in it. So I haven't really looked at OT or KYLD, but I'm gonna say they probably have it. I- I'm I'm pretty sure they run a similar charger. I haven't dived deep into it. Um, Not that I haven't cared to, but just just following the price really to see how it's performing next to ULTY. So back to the comments here. Skip a couple here because there's one that I think Furno here makes a point. Again, I'm not defending anybody, but people keep defending OT performance. I'm not defending the performance. I know what it's supposed to do. I just didn't think it was going to happen that fast. At this point, it's not defensible. We pay a fee for a reason. If the people making the decisions on where to invest are not doing the proper job, then either change the people or the system or admit you're simply lying. I don't disagree. So tell me what you guys think in the chat there. Here, let me check the chat here real quick. Howdy, Froggy. How's it going? Let's see. If you guys have any questions, just let me know there. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so this is one. Cole said everyone says the low div in OT is super sure the NAV. It's not. Their strat hasn't changed. NAV will continue to erode. Shaking my head. I don't know. I don't think they've changed that. We would see a perspective, but or the prospectus, right? So, but definitely something to keep an eye on there. If it does help it, I don't know. Would you take 70% to make sure that the NAV stays up, right? I strongly don't believe is NAV erosion is basically the underlines of the stock, right? And they're making really um they're the stocks that are choosing are very volatile, right? So they go up and down harder than anything else does. But that's how they make a premium. So let's see here. Reverse split, ULT, please. Who wants a reverse split? I would take it. I definitely would. I think it would actually help. Let's see here. There was one other one. Nice job nuking ULT to the ground more than once. I think I saw that comment last week. I'm not sure, but it feels that way. I'm not going to deny that it definitely feels that way. OT is absolutely cooked. I hadn't seen this one before. Let me see. Buy the dip at 6.5, soon 4, with the dividends racing to 0.01. Who wants to who wants to buy the dip? Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm sharing here. Let's see. Definitely I'm sharing. All right. Will or trust? That's not part of it. But you should probably do a will and a trust. Ouch. Ouch, ULT. Let's see if another one catches her. It was nice while it lasted. Child, please. This is actual footage of previous Yield Max ETF investors running towards the exit. Yield Max fund is equivalent to Enron 2.0. I don't think it's that big. Enron was definitely on a higher scale, but there is one here. Where is it at, actually? Where was it? I think this one sums it up right here. Glad I sold OT. The OT died. The day OT died. RIP. Let's see. Can we get products? Back in the day, OT paid 10 cents. Sure, grandma, let's get to bed. I like some of the comments, you know. I think I shared my my some of the yeah, I did on the last video, some of the comments that people share. Where is it? Yield mix. Wow. Okay, I can't find it here. And I think basically it said something about like my dad used to tell me, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. Let me see if I can find it here. Did I miss it somewhere? Uh, yeah, I can't find it. Well, those are the. Let's go ahead and flip this to 7. So yeah, so those are some of the comments there. Let's see some of the comments here. Mr. Froggy says they have a lot of ability to change strategy and their perspectives. Um, they do. I still think if they're going to be paying the high amount of dividends, they have to generate it somehow. So you know, I, I'll share with you guys some of the things I've done. So trading options trading is it's hard, you know, and I'll show you guys here. This is something that I haven't done this in quite a while, but this was me this morning. I think I started seeing it right here. I think that's when I got in, hit a buy. This is called the range filter. This is on the 1 minute. And you know, you get a buy signal and you go in there and it looks like it's going up and then it just shoots down, right? So you can only imagine these oh, I'm not sharing it here. I'm not sharing it. Let's share that. All right, so this is trading view. This is called the range filter. I'll probably have to see if I do more lives here and have that program that shows the my face on the bottom or my picture of me. I told you guys I'm new to YouTube, so I'm not really familiar with this. But this is called the range filter, and this was me this morning here at I think it was right here 8:23. I got a buy signal, right? So the spy and it looked like it was going up. I actually stayed in here, and I should have got off here, and it just crashed. But I did stay in, and it was coming up here. It was right about right here. I think I had made money back again, and I was like, oh, $40. I made $40. And it just crashed. It not crashed down, but it went down and didn't get a signal or anything like that. And these are signals, so don't take that. It's not always accurate, and I'll show you guys here later. But it went down. I was like, you know what? Let me take my $40 and run. And then it just shot up, and I'm like, I just got out. So I made $40. The card probably made another $100 there. And then here I got back in right about right here. And I hit the sell when it caught it, and it just stayed in that range there. I believe me, I would have probably sold here because I would have lost the money I made in the beginning in the morning. And I took my eyes away because I was walking my dog. And by the time I turned around, I was like, "Oh crap, what happened?" And then it went down. And at this point, I sold out. So I have that. I have that in my shares. They're made about $59, I think it was total. But that stuff happens with ULTY, so it's not easy. So that's why I think we invest in ULTY if you're holding ULTY or any covered car activists, because it's not an easy thing to do, right? I've dabbled in it a little bit, and um, I definitely would want to learn how to do it because I can see people make a lot of money. But you can imagine these guys are doing, and we are paying a lot. I think that comment, speaks a lot of truth to it that we're paying them a lot of money to be able to do these covered calls to make money, right? So, but it's not easy. Let's see here. They could have slightly less volatile stocks in their portfolio as a base, and then several high IV to write profit options on. I think so. I definitely think it's something that can happen. They could also DCA into positions rather than jumping into the deep end. That is actually something that I do agree with because I think it was Rocket Labs or something like that. They jumped in, like, and then it just, actually it was like in main money that it dropped and then it just completely dropped. That's a pretty big part of ULTY that we actually had. So, and it definitely didn't help with the share price. I see another. Have made suggestions. Several people have made suggestions on things they could change that would make it more stable without killing the yield. Yep, I think so. So that filter right there was for trading view. It's called the trading filter. I don't know exactly what it is. Let me see if I can go back over there. It's called the range filter. Buy and sell 5 minutes. Right. So, but see that's why you got to just be careful with it because it's sold sell and then all of a sudden it just shot up. And I only had one contract, so it was about a buck 32 here. I can show you guys the thing there. Let me share just to make sure that it doesn't show any account numbers. Let's see here. Where do I get that? I think it's here. I don't know how to actually look at that here. I know I can see where the call order or the orders are placed, but I don't see the thing. So I have to share with you guys that another day. But yeah, it's called the range filter. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and share my portfolio. Let me pull that up here. And obviously, this is just preliminary for what we have. Again, I'll continue to share it. This is the ULTY YOLO. So I'm not going to let it go unless I'm losing a whole ton of money, which that's not happening right now. So it's definitely doable. Okay, let's see here. Share. And entire screen. And we're going to share this one. And share. Okay. All right, here it is. So this is the recurring stat. The market price is 453, but actually just went down because the dividends hit. What was it sitting at here? Let's go back there. OT sitting at 447 because it just hit. So let's go ahead and change that so we're transparent on this. So the price here is 447. And we are now sitting at, excuse me. So the ULTY market price I have right now, and obviously this is preliminary because I kind of added the dividends in there already. But the share cost is $5.58. Break-even price is $4.88. It puts me at a negative $2,893.51, which is almost a 20% downfall there. But with the dividends, is definitely has cushioned the blow there at 1,077, which is a negative 8.47%. So my tax dividends, it was 100% income this time. Let me see here that I put it here. Dividends, yep, 100% income, no ROC. So all of it is taxed for me, or at least it should be. So I'm tracking that for that. So after tax dividends year to date, $1,713.15. The estimated tax, $103.30. So on top of losing those that 8.47%, I am probably going to have to pay $103.30 for taxes there. So ready for that. And then the margin use, 7,600. I'm sorry. The equity is $7,638, and margin use is $4,001. And remember, that's the reason why I started paying bills out of that. So it really wasn't using more than 1,000 there because it was free. But I started putting more. That's how I loaded more shares, which I don't regret that part, definitely, because I wouldn't be getting the dividends. You can see here how it just shot up. But I definitely will have to pay this margin down, and that's going to be part of it. So this margin here does not account for the $160 that I'll be getting in dividends here. Excuse me, that I have here that will be coming in on Thursday. So I will share the actual ones and the final price on the weekend video. But that puts me at a Robinhood buffer of 24.33%. And obviously this $59 that I ended up making with the covered cards. I haven't, not covered cards, I'm sorry. That was just a options trading that I did. Give me a little extra buffer there. So that's good to see there. I don't plan on doing that. So if you're asking if I do, I don't. I dabbled in. I made good money and I didn't, and then I went back and forth. I think I maybe lost more than what I made. But it takes time for me because I have to kind of sit in the computer. So if we go back to this trading view filter, right, you have to actually be watching it when it pops up. Then you make the decision. But this whole time, you can see here, it was like, what was it, almost 4 hours there, no signal. So if you're watching that, is definitely and depending what type of signals, I've seen some algos and stuff that do it. You can spend a lot of time, and I don't have the time to do that right now. Today was a special day because it was Veterans Day, so thank you everyone for your service that you've served in the military. Did not have the pleasure to do so, and that's one thing I do wish I would have done. I work, and I'll be honest, my parents didn't actually let me in, but they let my brother go. So that's kind of weird. But I wish I would have. The experience and stuff in serving my country would definitely have been great, but I didn't get that privilege. So thank you everyone for it. Like I stated, right now my brother was in the Navy, and he definitely experienced that part. So thank you for your service. But Veterans Day, well, obviously it was different than most holidays because most holidays are closed. I had the holidays off, so I was able to trade here because on Veterans Day, the stock market was actually up. So I took advantage of that. Like you can see, there's definitely not a lot that you can do there as far as signals. Like if you know this stuff, then you can definitely do it. But going back here, so let's see. We went over the margin, the actual, the transactions. I will, so stated in the video, I will be putting all of the dividends into back in, just let the margin go down. I plan on continuing to run this this experiment. It's called the ULTY YOLO for a reason. So I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing and likes and commenting. I really do, whether they're good or bad. I answer to all of them. I'm not here to defend ULTY. I'm just here to show the journey of it, win, lose or not. So I definitely will be a plug that I pull if it goes down to, I don't want to lose money, right? But I do want to show what it looks like there. But I'm not defending it, definitely not. And I'm not going to jump ship to another one. I'm not going to call it the WPay Yellow. I think somebody asked me that. Next week it'll be the WPay Yellow. It's not going to be that. But I will be adding more stuff in there. So in the comments, if you can, let's see here. If you can, let me know if you would want me to, what you think? Would you think it'd be, what's the word I'm trying to use? Not weird. Would it be wrong of me to change the channel name to something else? But I do want to add more stuff in there. You guys probably seen it with the macro minute, something more, just more sharing the economy rate. Some of us don't have the time to be able to look at that, and just short and simple. But I can add more stuff in there. Again, I do appreciate the support and everything you do, and I'm here to. I love making the content. Actually, I didn't think I was going to do that, but they definitely do. So let's see here. Some more comments. People got to think the manager actually doing a great job. What really destroyed the share price was the tariff drop. After that, they changed their strategy. So I'm not sure, Sackett, about that, because if we go back to, let me see which one would show it correctly. I think this one here. If we go back to year to date, tariffs were announced, I think, right around April, wasn't it? Wasn't it April? And I think that's when they changed the perspective. And I think that's when everybody jumped on ULT's nuts, basically. And because everybody, I would say myself included, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. When I saw it, and I was like, oh man, this is stabilizing. All the YouTube content creators were on it, and they're showing this, and I'm like, oh man, if they can stay stable like that and pay 86% yield, that's awesome, But then it slowly started going down. So I can't tell you what happened here. If you look at the S&P 500, it just continues to go up here. I don't have it. Do I have it here? Let's see, SPY. I don't think I have it set up, but I have it on here. Let's actually do it here. So we can go to SPY. We go. Let's just do year to date. You can see SPY has been up, and SPY has a lot of high tech companies, right? So a lot of tech in there, and it has only gone up since then. So I'm not sure if the tariffs would have done that. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm not sure, Zach. That's basically after the strategy change, they started protecting that downsides. Now they're selling puts and selling a little further out of the money. And it's just affording events of the year. So there was another person that used to talk about that. But if you look at like WPay and how it actually drops because there's nothing there, or you look at the other ones, the other cover calls, they were paying a higher yield, but it would have dropped further, I think. I think it would have dropped a lot further if that was the case. If those covered calls were in there, I think the ETF inspector shows that. If you guys don't watch them, I'm sure everyone does here. We're like a little big small community that watches each other. But definitely, I think the cover calls or the puts are actually helping a little bit. Maybe as not as paying the high yield. But I don't know. I guess that's up for debate. And so Froggy says, thankfully, I'm only down $78 on ULTY, although Missy and Yet are not great. So that comment on there said I'm still holding Missy. I'm not sure. I think somebody said that overall everyone would still be up if they were still in there. The reason why I never got into Missy or TSYY or all these other single ones because it's just one underlying stock there. So I think that would be really hard for me to be able to put all my money in there, seeing there. Although some of them are doing great, like Hui. What's the other ones that are doing great? There's some, I can't think of them right from the top of my head. I don't follow them as much only because they don't want to be into just one single stock, and I can see it dropping. But TSYY obviously. Yeah, let's see here. Although Missy, you could call it Dividend YOLO. Yeah, I could call it Dividend YOLO. I think that'd be something good. I guess the word I was trying to use is would it be hypocritical if I changed the name from ULTY YOLO to like a Dividend YOLO or something like that, right? They made some really bad trades. I would say yeah, like I was showing you guys earlier. I mean, running options is it's a hard thing. It's like, even for, I think when you look at the statistics of people that actually trade, day trade, right, which would be options majority of the time, they're not the best. Yeah, most people go broke, I guess. They've lost millions of dollars in trades multiple times. Really been liking blocks. So I did see blocks. Maybe I'll start following that one. But I saw it go down too. So, well, I mean, all of them were down last week and this week. If the protected puts would have been part of the strategy before tariffs, we wouldn't be down as much, though. Yeah, I think so. I think so, Zach. But I think when we were looking at, I think somebody put that perspective where we were looking at the drop that it was making, and I guess we can stop sharing this here. When we look at the drop that ULTY was making compared to the dividends that it was paying, like I think it was like 125 or 130%, something like that. They were actually keeping up, and that's how when you look at the I think somebody shows with dividends included, it was up like 35% or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, so you guys would have to run them. But when you run them through, I don't have the actual Seeking Alpha subscription, so I can't actually do all that. But when you look at that, they were actually doing pretty good. So it could be. I mean, I couldn't tell you if that was the reason why. I'd be lying to you if I did. Um, yeah, they also went from synthetic to holding the underlying. Um, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I wish I was that sophisticated in trading to understand that part. Um, but overall, I think what we need to see is the price stabilize, right? If I tell you what, if the dividends hold at where they're currently at, and the NAV doesn't drop or recovers, right? Which we saw it do multiple times, like in the 550, 575 range. It was hovering around there, and it was pretty nice to see that it would pay out, drop down to 9 cents, and then go back up. And there's one of the reasons why I was actually reinvesting on the ex dividend date. Like today would have been one of the days that I would have invested right when it dropped. I would have caught those 6 cents this time, but I would have catch the 9 cents because the next day would be up, and then that Monday it would be up again. And so it just made sense to catch it. But now it just continues to drop. So it almost makes more sense to just hold the dividends a little bit and then reinvest afterwards. But yeah, let's see. Um, so the other thing I was going to share here was I think the government shutdown is over. Um, so we'll see what happens there. Let me share this part of you guys haven't seen it. I'll get better at this live stream. Let's see here. All right, so the Senate passes the bill to end government shutdown, sending it to the House. I know I work for the government, and luckily I'm not one of the ones that was laid off because we actually make income by ourselves, so we don't need the taxes to pay our bills, I guess. But definitely seen a downflow in everything that we do. And so, is it because of the government shutdown? I'm not sure, but it's I definitely saw it through our facilities where we work at, and it's something that we got to make sure that if it can go bad real fast. So, but the economy has not been doing that great. And this is the other thing that was in. So my question to you guys is, what would you guys do with $2,000 tariff rebate checks? Would you put it back into ULTY? That is the question. I don't know. Um, that is something that definitely uh, will be exciting to see. I guess everybody likes an extra $2,000, right? And depending on what the actual range is where they're going to actually pay it off. Did it actually say it on here? Let me. I don't think so. Intended consequences of rebate checks. Economists have also warned that direct payments could cause inflation to flare up. That would suck. It'd probably be under a certain amount. I would say. I would wonder what that amount would be, though. Take a drink here. So yeah, that's definitely going to be something interesting to see. All right. Let's see here. Perspective on ULT, though, it's not an income fund, it's a velocity of returning income back to you. How fast you get your money back each time you put it in, which can pay down debt faster. Yeah, and I think that's part, when I look at my reason why I was doing it, I was trying to, and I still am, I'm trying to stack as many shares as possible to be able to get that payment back. Because, I think that the question that everybody always asks themselves, or when even if it goes down, right? Even if it only pays 1 penny in distribution, if you got all your money back, and now it's just paying you. It doesn't matter if it's like $1 and is only paying you 1 penny. All of that money is, um, profit, right? And I think when we first ran the numbers, it showed like 11 months. I think 13 months at the most. So if you actually collect that money at the 13 months, with the yield that we had, obviously, you would get your money back and everything is profit. So at that point, it's like, if you're getting $200 every 2 weeks, and now 160, right, for me, $160 every 2 weeks, what is the actual profit in that? That is definitely pretty good. I imagine 200, or I think there were some people who I think were getting like $5,000, $6,000. That's a lot of money. And especially if at that point, it just becomes, just pure profit. And even if that money drops through time, you get 6,000 and then 5,500 and then 5,000, all of that is profit. And you can put that somewhere else. So obviously, as far as retirement, I don't know, because if if you're depending on that money, you probably want a better plan. But that's what I see basically. So the future will tell, right? What actually happens with that. Now, however, if you only have $1,000 in there and you're trying to run that plan, I think when I was doing that, it was about $50, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let's run the calculator here. At today's price, let's see. If I had 1,000 shares right now, and I divide that by $4.50, let's call it. It's 222 shares, and you multiply that times 0.6 cents. Let's call it that. That's $13. So $13 is not going to make a difference for me. That's why I was stacking it. Now, I'll say it won't make a big difference because $13 is $13, right? So when you multiply that times 4 times, you got about $40 there, right? $42. So let's make sure I'm not a dummy here. Let me run it through the calculator. 52. $52. I feel like a dummy right now. $52. It's a meal. It's going out to eat. I think when you go eat fast food, I don't spend less than $40 now. It's definitely, the economy is bad, and if it paid you $50 for the rest of your life, that's pretty good. It's decent, I would say, but it's not life changing. And I think that's what I was looking at as far as stacking the dividends and getting it higher. And that's why we were putting more into it. But let's see what Zach says. If you put 20K, let's say you get back in and you get it back in a year and you put 20K back in, how fast would you get your money back second time? Not quite have the time, but close. to it, third time, how fast, 1/4 of the time. And that would be 1/4 of the time. But that's if you put all your money back in, though, right? You're saying, Zach, that's if reinvesting the money or just having it as cash. But we would have to run the numbers on that, I think, on my part. But that's what I see in that. So if somebody was holding this for a year by now, if that's all they put in and they didn't reinvest it because it's not for growth or anything like that, it's just for income, um, you'd be pretty close to already being paid off. And all that money that comes in, no matter if it's 6 cents per share, it would obviously all be profit. All right. Yeah, you know, I say that because if I was reading Miles Blake's comment there. $50 can pay interest on a credit card. It's small, but something. It is something because if you walk down the street and you see $50 on the floor, would you pick it up? You know, um, yeah. It's not. It's not a lot, but I don't think it's life changing. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Um, uh, Yeah, because there's I think if you guys don't follow my friend Eric, he talks about that, right? Getting some of this money to be able to pay like ice cream for his kids or going out or soccer practice or something like not soccer practice. Um, what do you say after soccer practice gets an ice cream or something? It's something to be able to cover some bills. It definitely would make a difference. And but definitely pay them credit cards off. Don't pay interest on that. But yeah, definitely something you can do it. So let me see here. Run down anything else. Um, So we went over the plan. The next steps, obviously, want to reduce the margin. Talked about the market here. Do you guys have any questions? Anything that you guys want me? It's like a flywheel. Reinvest, reinvest. When you need the energy, use it. It will slow down. When you don't need it, recharge. The flywheel increase velocity for that payoff. Yeah. So and it's similar. Well, when we were looking at the margin use of it, it kind of reminds you of like velocity banking, right? Only like on steroids, kind of, because it's actually paying you dividends. So use the margin to pay the bills. It's actually not a bad trade off, especially if you have your money in something like that would stabilize because or that would have a margin rate that's lower than 50%. Definitely in the 20-25% range would be something that we would want to do. I didn't know my camera did that. But what was I trying to get at with that? But if you even use the margin compared to a credit card on Robinhood, it's 5.25% right now. And if you have a lot more, and a credit card is not like 20-25%, something like that. So that's why I see on that part too. So you're actually saving a lot more there. And again, that's why it reminds me of the whole velocity banking, the HELOC strategy they're used. If you do it correctly, it does work, and you can save a lot of money that way. So so yeah. So as far as me, I am not gonna, as of right now, I'm not changing the name of ULTY YOLO. I'm definitely gonna stick with it. Again, the whole purpose was to show what happens when you actually go in there. Um, I did get a little ahead of myself and just depositing the money in there. I don't think I will continue doing that right now, but I do want to pay off the margin down a little bit. But it is helping with those uh, dividend payments because I would never had that. When you look at back here, let me go back and share this screen here. When you go back here and you see this, the weekly net dividends as it went up, that wouldn't have been possible, or the monthly dividends wouldn't have been possible had I not did that. And I'm still in a good state. I'm not margin called or anything like that. So it's definitely something to continue to run in. We just pay that off, I think a lot of people did say do that. I went against it, but if you just use the margin, if you use the dividends to pay the margin, and then that pays down, and then I think that would have been best definitely if I no we because you didn't do this, if I would have just went in there and then at this point if I wanted to use the same margin to buy additional ULTY at a lower price would have got more in. However, the distribution rate would have gone down too. So you got to count that. But I wouldn't have gone as much. So I'm not sure. It's like you would have to be there and run the numbers or actually do, different strategies for that. Um, but uh, but I wouldn't have that either. And again, the margin was not used to buy more ULTY in a sense, although it was used to pay bills and then be able to get more dividends and then pay down the margin as it went. The intent actually was never to pay down the margin, I'll be honest, because the dividends would just continue to stack up and continue to do that. So a lot of people do that, but they use different methods. I just try to do it with ULTY. But definitely going to change that a little bit here while we do some margin buffer to make sure that we're good. So let's see here. Art of Caden. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I focus on paying down margin with the dividends for now. That's what I am doing. Yeah, I think so. I think that's smart to do. You have to adjust to that, and definitely run it. Again, I'm not scared of the margin call because I know like it's not going to go. Well, it could go down real fast. We saw it happen. But I think when I ran the numbers, the only way it actually happens for me really fast if they increase the buffer for me or the margin. What's it called here? The margin ratio. So if that happens, then definitely be something that I have to look at. Use girlfriend margins to take advantage of opportunity while the OT recharges your margin for the next opportunity. Yeah, I think the problem I'm having with that is obviously I named it the ULTY YOLO, and the YOLO part was the strategy of it. I do have, like I said, I do have a 401k for me. It's called a TSP because I'm in the government. So I do have money there for retirement, and not touching that, and can't invest in ULTY even if I wanted to. There can only be like if you're not familiar with this, like called the C fund, the S fund, the I fund, the F fund, and stuff like that. And it's basically tracks the S&P 500 or the small caps or international. So it's very, very vague on what you could choose there. So definitely not going to do it. Probably wouldn't have done it anyways, but definitely don't have the opportunity to be able to do that. So that's the problem there. Art with the was it Art that said that? No, SAC with doing that because I want to be transparent in doing this and running just ULTY. So if I do that and share it so people can actually see what happens, we can be talking a month from now and be like, oh, don't think this is going to rocket ship. Definitely not. But it's income part that I'm trying to build. Be foolish for me to tell you that it's going to be a rocket ship. The next Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000. It's not. I know that. The market will probably balance when the government is back open. I do believe so. I think the market has not even gone down though in general because we're still sitting at all-time highs right now. I think. Let's see here. I just had it up. The all-time high for the S&P 500 was 687. I think it's showing 687 here. Let me double check here on. $689. So 689, we're 1% away from all-time highs on the S&P 500. So when we talk about the market, I'm not sure if we're talking about ULTY market or the S&P 500 because that's why it's sometimes I think it's frustrating for a lot of people to see that. It's like the market's all-time highs. We're here down. If you had gone in with me, it would have been like 20, almost 20%, right? If have not reinvested or if you had dividends to offset it, but that is, I think that's the frustrating part for a lot of people when they see them, when they see the chart, they're like, why would you even choose that? Right? They don't understand the other part of it. But as far as the underlines of their It can, and I think if you guys see what happened to ULTY from like when we talked about when the tariffs were announced, dropped and then went back up. I think the lowest price I had gone to was about in the 540 range, and it bounced up almost to six in the 640 range. Don't know how much of that had to do to the people that were jumping in, like all the content creators and everybody on OT's nuts, basically I call it, and then jump shipped all of a sudden. But it could be. I'm not sure. The AUM obviously is something that you're watching, obviously, because that's part of the underlines also, but also what people hold. I When I researched it, I was told, or my conclusion is the AUM cannot, or the price cannot fall when people just dump shares because it has an underlying. So they would actually have to dump the underlying shares by a whole lot to be able to bring down the price of ULTY. However, it does show sometimes on the overnight markets on Robinhood, and we've seen those drop downs. And that's why I would always buy on those because I knew the NAV had to reconcile with it, right? So even though they're dropping ULTY, the underlines had not dropped overnight, so therefore it would recover, and we saw that a couple of times happen. Whether that was margin calls that were triggered or people just selling out of it on low volume, I'm not sure. So let's see here. I'll take a couple more comments. I use my dividends to diversify too. Chippy, YMAX, and GPTY. I was definitely considering that, and that may be something that I do only because the YOLO experiment will still be running as far as what's collecting from it, and then adding to other ones. Obviously, is money, and I don't want to lose it. Nobody would. YouTube doesn't even pay me, by the way, so at least not yet. And I appreciate everyone that has hung around and stuff like that. We're definitely closer. I'll share that with you guys here. We're definitely at the being transparent here with everything. Definitely getting closer to monetization. I am technically monetized, but I'm not. Let's see here. Guess this is the last thing I'll share here before we go. So we go to the dashboard. So we are now sitting at 1,430 subscribers. So thank you to every one of you guys that have subscribed. And I think, where is it that shows here? I normally see it on my phone, so I'm not totally familiar with this here. I think you go to earn here, and you go to the bottom, and you can see here that I have 3,500 hours, just shy of 3,600 hours actually recorded as of November 6th. The last video actually garnered about 200 hours, a little bit over 200 hours of watch time. So that ends up being just shy of 3,800 public watch hours, so 200 more, and actually gets monetized. Now, I didn't do this channel for YouTube necessarily, just documenting my journey. I mean, it'd be nice to get paid there. I appreciate the support and everything. If you guys, there's those likes, there's the buy me a coffee. I appreciate everybody has actually supported me there, with the spreadsheets and just the simple thank yous there for it. So I do appreciate that. So, but we'll see how it is. I've seen some videos on how much to make. I'll probably show you guys, especially on lives here, how much it actually makes there. And who knows, maybe I dump it right back into ULTY. Let me know what do you guys think about that. All right. Let's see. Keep the ULT experiment rolling, brother. They made good changes, and I'm confident they will be stabilized. Definitely hoping for that for sure. Either way, I will completely document it here unless I see that, it's just not worth it, So, but I definitely keep it. I showed all the creators that dumped. You can speculate on why they were actually doing it. If it was for the clout or for the views or for this. As a creator, I would have to say that if they were doing it with the intention of making videos, it obviously was for the watch hours. But for me, it was documented, and the watch hours just happened to come along with it. So I appreciate it, all of your guys' support there. So I will end it with that. I appreciate it. Let me just put this back up here, and I think I closed it actually. Just remember that none of this is financial advice. This is just what I'm doing with my money inside of ULTY. We'll see you guys on the weekend video, the update. So with that, ULTY YOLO out.